When is the right time to use an equity partner? When do you use debt? How do you structure your deals? We're going to do a whole series on this. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Christian. I've bought hundreds of multifamily rentals starting with $0. So creative structures are kind of my specialty. I'm going to go through some real deals that I have done, why I use the either equity or debt stack that I did, and how you can structure your deal the same way. So we're doing a whole series here on deal architecture, and I'm going to show you actual deals, how to do this. Today's example deal is called Pheasant Street. These are 3 side-by-side duplexes. It is the second seller finance deal I ever did. Now, the deal, remember, it always goes deal, then debt, then equity. By the way, if you're new to the channel, you're going to hear this all the time. Deal, then debt, then equity. This is the equation. If you answer all 3, you have bought yourself a piece of real estate. So what is the actual deal? We've met the seller. The seller actually sold me my first ever conventional duplex that I purchased a while back. That seller owned these 3 duplexes. We'd got to know each other for a long time, and out of that relationship, they made the decision. We would like to have you buy these. I think this will move you forward, and we're willing to seller finance. They proposed to us the transaction, and they proposed 10% down. 3 duplexes, side by side, all fully occupied, nice backyards, beautiful 1-story buildings with garages. So it was $900,000 for all of them. So we needed a $90,000 down payment, which we did not have. However, the deal, seller financed, 5.5% interest only for the first 2 years. Afterwards, we've had time to get rent up a little bit. It does go up a little bit and on an amortized schedule, so it starts actually paying down the principal a little bit. But a 5-year note, 5.5% interest. 90% of our deal at that point is done. We have the opportunity. We have the duplexes. We can see the income and expenses, walk the properties. We actually have a deal. The debt, 90% seller financed. That answers $810,000 of the dollars that we need to close the deal. Now, you have options here. You could use debt, and if you use additional debt, it will cost you more every month, and it's usually in second position going to be more expensive debt. However, it's only 10% of your deal, so you're taking a small amount, $90,000, compared to the deal. That's a small amount, $90,000 at a higher interest. Problem, we can't take it as debt for 2 reasons. One, there is a no further encumbrance rule, which means in the seller finance note, we are not allowed to take second position debt. That is off the table. Number 2, the deal wouldn't support more debt. Day 1, rents were a little low. It still cash flowed on the debt that we were taking, but had we taken more debt, we'd be at negative cash flow. There's a few rules to buying real estate. You have to answer, how am I going to buy it, and how am I going to never lose it? I have to line up the deal, the debt, and the equity to actually close the deal, and we're buying on long-term cash flowing fixed rate debt. We have failed to answer the cash flowing piece. If cash flow is not there, we don't know how we're going to hold it all the way to the end. Don't lose money, especially on your earlier deals. So how do we get cash flow? This is where you'd bring in an equity partner who wants to multiply money. We're picking it up for a great price. We have 5 years, which isn't long-term debt, but it is mid-term debt. We have a reasonable amount of time to increase the value on this property. We know we're buying it a little bit under market price today. And so we found an investor whose goal was this. I want to double my money every 5 years. That was his stated goal in real estate. He is a high income earner today, which means cash flow doesn't really affect him very much on a small acquisition like a 6-plex. However, doubling his money in 5 years does mean something to him. He had a long history of flipping properties where he would make money on one, lose money on the other, make money on one, lose money on the other. And he's like, I would just love to find a more consistent way to double my money every 5 years. So he placed $90,000 with us. And the beautiful part about this, on our end, we got 100% of cash flow. So we came in 33, 33, 33. Cody and I, Cody's my business partner on this one, we got $1,000 a month of cash flow. Right off the bat, brand new investors. We have $1,000 a month coming in. We spent $0 out of pocket. The actual paperwork, it was like this much. It was a tiny bit of paperwork that we actually had to put together to do this acquisition. And when we got through the whole deal, we just added cash flow to our universe for 5 years. Now, here's the other great part. If you're the investor, why would you only take 33% of the deal if you provided all the down payment? Well, one, we lined up the deal and the debt, and that is a majority of the money. So we had a lot of things structured you wouldn't get in a conventional deal. But more importantly, what happens if we don't double his money? We have a clause in there that says we have an option to purchase him out at 2-to-1 on his investment. So for $180,000, we can buy him out at the end of year 5. If we do not do that, we have to sign our equity over to him. So if we fail to buy him out, he just gets the deal because he put in all the money and he didn't get the money back. Either way, Cody and I bought 5 years of cash flow and the option to purchase the rest of the equity in the building at a future date. Now, we're absolutely going to do that. There's multiple ways we could do it. Step one, it cash flows more than $180,000 after you get the rents up, which we did over that 5 years. So you can just save and pay it off. Two, you can refinance. It has enough value today where I could refinance and just pay it off. Three, you can earn it anywhere else in the portfolio and make sure that you get to keep that awesome deal, which is another option that one could do. In a course of 5 years, a lot of people can figure out how to save $180,000 if you had 5 years to do so. Simple deal. We answered how do we buy it? How do we never lose it? We used an equity partner specifically to preserve the cash flow in the deal because it was a value add deal by raising rents. We knew that there was an equity multiple to give him at the end. And we didn't want to touch cash flow today. If you have a deal that's like this, where maybe tighter numbers day one, but it has a lot of upside, you probably want to structure it where you have no payments or delayed payments to an investor who can come in and kind of bridge that gap while you get the property from where it is day one to where it's going to be at the end of your project. Less expenses buys you a little bit more time with the cash flow. And that's what you're going for on a deal like this one. I hope this was helpful. We're going to be sharing more specific deal examples on what we bought, why we bought it, and how the architecture of the deal worked. Please like, follow, and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.